Return of writs date extended. Investigations begin into Wabag shootings. And East New Britain MPs give assurance.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartolo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Monday's news. The PNG Electoral Commission has extended another extra 4 days for the return of election writs. This is because more than half of the 111 seats are yet to be declared as counting continues. Governor-General Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai has signed the instruments allowing the extension. All election writs are to be returned on Friday, the 28th of July.
In a press conference this morning, Electoral Commissioner Patilis Gamato made this announcement. So far, only 51 of the 111 seats have been declared. 60 seats are yet to be declared as counting continues, with the writs expected to be returned this Friday, July 28.
I'll expect all the writs to come in. If not, if there is only one or two that are still lagging, we will still allow them to count and complete. As you know, in the last election event, NCD went past the counting period, and they were still allowed to finish the count and then bring their writs in. The opportunity is for them to try and complete it quickly so that they can be part of the member-elects can be part of the government formation. So by Friday 28th, whatever writs that come to me, I will have to return the writs to the head of state.
This morning, Manus, New Island and Morro Bay returned the writs to Commissioner Gamato. Gamato maintains that declarations for more seats are expected today and tomorrow as counting progresses. Meanwhile, counting for Enga Provincial and its 3 open seats have been suspended because of violence that escalated in the area. Police Commissioner Gary Bucky is on the ground with high security presence to stabilize the situation in Wabag town for counting to resume.
What we'll basically do is reorganize the town so that we restrict some people. The gun amnesty is still there, so it gives extra powers to the police. So we will try and reorganize the many towns so that we restrict some people and so that we control violence. I'm hoping to get a report from the police commissioner this afternoon, and then about 3 o'clock the IDEC committee will meet, and then we can make some decision on conduct.
Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
Investigations have begun into the Wabag shooting, where 2 policemen were shot dead on Saturday. Enga Provincial Police Commander George Kakas has condemned the actions taken by supporters of 2 rival candidates, which resulted in these deaths. Police reports revealed that 4 civilians, including 3 members of the MS6, were shot and are under medical care. Police Commissioner Gary Bucky travelled today to assess the situation in Wabag.
It was on the morning of Saturday, the 22nd of June 2017, the deceased late constables Glenn Jimmy from Jiwaka Province, Alex Copper from Chimbu Sipik Parentage, and Constable Matthew Kasap from Medeng was shot at Wabag Town. The trio were rushed to Wabag General Hospital Emergency Unit for treatment. Unfortunately, during the process of stabilizing the bullet wounds before being medevaced to Port Moresby, late constables Glenn and Alex lost their lives. According to Criminal Investigation Division report, the 3 policemen were shot with M16 carbine rifles open-fired to them at My Kids Inn, where the Police Mobile Squad 6 camped. The CID reported that the incident occurred hours after the shooting of the Kandep returning officer's vehicle and the district administrator. Armed men with high-powered rifles ambushed the vehicle at White Corner, close to Lai Police Barrack in Wabag, and opened fire, riddling the left side of the vehicle with bullets. 4 passengers, 2 seated in front, including the RO, and 2 seated at the back, were seriously injured. The quick response unit managed to rush the 4 to the hospital, however was unable to catch the gunman. Police report revealed that there was a shootout between Alfred Manasseh and Don Polier's supporters over the issue of the counting of boxes. Security personnel managed to stop the tension, however, as the armed men from one of the candidates' side retreated towards the My Kids Inn, where MS6 camped, 2 of the gunmen opened fire to the 3 policemen when they walked out of the gate. Other members of the unit quickly responded and shot down the two gunmen. Investigation is still underway. Police Commissioner Gary Baki is also in Wabag to witness the scene and bring command and control. MS6 returned to Mount Hagen yesterday. Bodies of the two fallen cops are at a funeral home in Goroka, and the other officer is receiving treatment at a hospital in Port Moresby. Counting has been suspended for an indefinite period until Police Commissioner and the Electoral Commission give a favorable response to the victims. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Wabag.
After his visit to Wabag this morning, Police Commissioner Gary Baki said additional security conditions are now in place. He met with the provincial administrator and the provincial returning officer, and they decided that moving the counting out of Wabag will be a logistical nightmare, so counting will continue in Wabag. One of those conditions is a lockdown of Wabag town, which will mean no unnecessary movement into the town, with roadblocks to monitor this movement of people.
I've instructed for a lockdown in Wabag for the next 3-4 days, meaning that no one will be allowed to travel into Wabag from either, from Pogra Way or Kandip Way to come inside, and from Mount Hagen into Wabag, to allow the security personnel to concentrate on maintaining high security, so that we can allow the counting officials to work both day and night to try and meet the deadline. The assurance we have this morning as well, so the people that are living around Wabag now have come forward to assist the police. In fact, they've taken personal responsibility to ensure that where the villages within Wabag around, particularly after Teramanda and chaos and around this area, that they're ensuring that no one else is allowed to come inside and to bunker around there, to set up tents in there. What's going on. So our instruction is to remove everyone that is not from Wabag outside, to go back into the electorates and monitor the counting from wherever they are, back in the electorates. Security personnel on the ground in Wabag, despite what has happened, are determined to ensure that we get this counting going and get it out of the way. I think it's because of the fact that there is this now level of support that's been given by the provincial administration in public awareness of the people around Wabag and Anga, to ensure that they allow the security forces to do their work collectively. Now, I know it's a situation that has moral effect on our men and women. This is probably the first election related incident that we have in any elections. But like I've said to the officers in the morning, a policeman's life and soldiers' life are always at risk when we're deployed to such situations like this, and those risks even include men getting killed. The 2 police officers that have been killed, the families in Hagen. We've done the best thing that we can do is repatriate the body straight to the funeral home on Saturday. What the other colleague that's been injured has been flown immediately and made to Port Moresby, so he's down in Moresby. When I flew in yesterday, we've given specific instructions to ensure that the normal family house cries are set up in Hagen, and that will bring the families together. The organization, RPNGC, is well prepared to meet all the expenses with regards to this. The death of these 2 police officers, so we're taking that on board.
The 5 members elected in East New Britain Province have spoken out publicly for the first time after their declarations. Speaking on local radio NBC East New Britain, the 5 men made strong assurances to bond together as a team. Despite their different political party affiliations, they won't change their efforts to deliver to the people of East New Britain Province. Edwin Fidelis reports from Kokopo.
Today, the 5-member team came together as a show of strength and support for each other to deliver to the people of East New Britain. It's an attempt taken by the political leaders to quell the differences and lack of teamwork between previous political leaders in the province. In the group is the new member-elect for Gazelle, Jalta Wong, Rabaul member re-elected Dr. Alan Marat, new member-elect for Kokopo, Emil Tamur, Pomios LS Kapavore, and the new governor-elect Naki Kuskonga.
Why people come together? Because this is what we want to do as leaders, to stand together, not to fight one another, but to stand together as a team.
This is one of the few times, perhaps the first time, for the 5 members to get together. Despite their political party affiliations, the team made assurances today that it won't change their plans to deliver to the people in the province.
All about the human development of the province must become our priority.
As a young politician with my colleague Emil,
We are here to learn for the best things of East New Britain.
To people challenges and come up with stuff ahead of people for the next 5 years.
East New Britain province is not only the regional capital for the New Guinea Islands region, but it is a model province too. It will be the co-host of the 2018 APEC Summit, and new developments are happening at an unprecedented rate.
And people are something, people are one bill long and people are expressing commitment long and saying we would like to stand together.
Political leaders are viewed by the people as the deliverer of services. If the five-man political team succeed in delivering to the province as a group, then they would have achieved more than what their predecessors achieved in previous terms. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
The Social Democratic Party leader, Paus Pakop, has congratulated Catholic priest Father Simon Dumarino for winning the Central Bougainville open seat. Mr. Pakop says Father Simon's victory is history for Social Democratic Party as the first duly elected member from the autonomous region of Bougainville. Father Simon ousted sitting MP and PNC's Jimmy Miring-Toro, collecting 7,285 votes. Fabian Hakalist reports.
Social Democratic Party leader Paus Pakop has thanked the people of Central Bougainville for their confidence in Father Simon Dumarino as the parliamentary leader. He is the first declared candidate under the banner of the Social Democratic Party.
I'm very pleased because for us it's the first time for us to win a seat in the autonomous region, so that's history for our party. But more importantly, it's also a confidence in our party and in the leadership of Father Simon.
One of SDP's aspirations is for the referendum conduct in 2019 not to be delayed, and the onus is on the national government because they have failed to fully honor the Bougainville Peace Agreement.
Agreed to, in the peace accord, respect the wishes of our people. So, our party is determined that agreement must be honored in full, on the part of the PNG government and PNG state, and on the part of our people in Bougainville. That means, on the part of people of Bougainville, ensuring that all the terms of the accord, especially the environment that is conducive to have a free and fair and peaceful referendum must be in place. We want to ensure that. And on the part of the PNG government, we must also ensure that in terms of the commitment, financial commitment, it must be honored too.
Now, if you can recall, during Papua New Guinea's pre-independence, former Catholic priest and one of the first from the North Solomons, Father John Momis, was elected into parliament. He was one of the toughest in PNG's political history and well known as the father of decentralization, and was among many who were very vocal for PNG's independence and one of the founding fathers of this great nation. He is now the president of the autonomous Bougainville government. And now when Bougainville charters its way forward for its future political status, on June 15, 2019, the referendum conduct, another Catholic priest, the second from now the autonomous region of Bougainville, Father Simon Dumarino, was declared as member-elect for Central Bougainville. And what might the future hold for the autonomous region of Bougainville? We now look at SDP's objectives or goals as aligned with the Bougainville Peace Agreement.
Process, and we need a person who can articulate well, who can resonate well, who can appeal to all sides, both the state of PNG, the government of PNG, and also our people in Bougainville, especially Central Bougainville and South Bougainville. That's the heartland of the secessionist movement. So we need a strong character there.
Mr. Pakop, since becoming a national parliamentarian, has been very vocal on Bougainville issues, calling on leaders voted into the 10th National Parliament to work together to address the delicate issues on Bougainville's referendum.
Do we respect the rights of the 70% or 30%, or we just say no? The majority has decided that they want independence, so you have to accept independence. These are type of delicate issues that we have to manage now. So that's why for us as SDP, the process must start now. So we solve this delicate issue, delicate question. Everybody's happy with the question and the process, and then we have the referendum.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Leader of SDP, Paul Sparkop, says the interest to be a coalition to the next ruling government will be decided by its members. Mr. Sparkop says their engagement will be determined by the counting results and the numbers they have.
Social Democratic is relatively a new and small political party with Paul Sparkop as the leader. Currently, Social Democratic Party is a coalition of the ruling People's National Congress Party. When asked by EMTV News what party Social Democratic will be a coalition to form the next government, Mr. Sparkop says this is a decision all members will make.
But for us now at this time, we are waiting for the result. We know what sort of numbers we have, then we will make the decision. And I will wait for all our members to come here into Port Moresby, and then we will decide together. I cannot decide for everyone. I'm happy for us to be in the same coalition, but if our members, they come and they decide otherwise, we will go by majority and the best decision.
Political parties like the People's National Congress Party, National Alliance, Pangu and People's Progress Party are vying to form the 10th National Parliament as declaration continues. With Pangu and National Alliance's latest decision not to join the People's National Congress as coalition, this has seen a split in numbers. But Sparkop is confident their numbers will still contribute to the formation of the next government.
Numbers seems to be going the side of PNC side. It's going to also, Pangu has done well. NA is also getting numbers too, PPP too, and we have not done like pretty well in terms of getting numbers home, but we have done pretty well in terms of coming second and third and fourth. So we have about 7 candidates, out there in second and third and fourth. So we are still confident that maybe we will end up with maybe if we get 5 to 7, it will be good.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Pangu Party leader Sam Basil has met with Sir Mekere Morauta and Karenga Kua in Port Moresby, discussing camping arrangements for their groups. In a statement received by EMTV today, the parties in the group, known as The Alliance, is preparing to form the next government and are National Alliance, Pangu and People's Progress Party as major players. Party leaders and independents have agreed to work together to provide a strong force with major parties. Smaller groups of parties like the National Party, PNG Party, CRP, Melanesian Liberal Party, Melanesian Alliance, New Generation, People's Movement for Change, The Party, PNG First and independents combined expect to contribute over 20 members to the Alliance. The Alliance is ready to form the next government and is welcoming other parties to join. Meanwhile, a working retreat to finalize policy agenda for the government to take to the next parliament will be held in Alotau, Milne Bay Province, which declared members of coalition parties and independents are convening to. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says the second Alotau Accord will build on the successes of the first 5 years and step up efforts in growth sectors of the future. In the next 5 years, they will deliver an infrastructure transformation to further strengthen national highway networks, airports, schools and training colleges. 2 of the last open seats for Morobe Province were declared last night, and early this morning, Pangu's Kennedy Wenge defeated Samson Timson in the final elimination after a close race. National Alliance's Ross Seymour was declared at 3 a.m. this morning after another Pangu candidate, Jason Peter, lost in the 33rd exclusion.
Even after the candidates for the Nawai open seat reached the end of the exclusions, it wasn't clear who was going to come out on top. Samson Timson had led for much of the 2 weeks, with Wenge occasionally in the lead. By late yesterday, there were only a few votes separating the two men. At one stage, Wenge led by only 47 votes, but gradually that lead widened to more than 700. At 8 p.m, the verdict was clear: Wenge was going to be declared. Wenge unseated the Vice Minister for Education, Giswat Sinewin.
Exclusion amicus 162.
After signing the writs, Wenge thanked those who voted for him, the security personnel and fellow candidates.
I'm making good work. I'm
Meanwhile, counting for the Huon Gulf Open seat continued well past midnight. They had to deal with disruptions from scrutineers and candidates throughout the week. By 2 a.m., Ros Simo was already in a commanding lead with over 13,000 votes, but he was still short of the absolute majority. With a lot of ballots exhausted, Jason Peter couldn't muster enough to pass Simo's numbers. Returning Officer Brian Mogu made the declaration after 3 a.m. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Lae.
Still in Morobe Province, counting for the Morobe regional seat has concluded with Pangu's Ginson Sano leading with 81,491 votes after the final count. Former Governor Luther Wenge is currently second on 48,001 votes. Counting was suspended and will resume tomorrow with quality checks.
The primary counts for the Morobe regional seat ended this morning. 14 ballot boxes from the Kabum district were the last to be counted. Counting was suspended at 10 a.m. after count 277. After the final count, Pangu Party's Ginson Saonu maintained the top spot with 81,491 votes, over 33,000 votes ahead of former Governor and United Party candidate Luther Wenge. Former Provincial Administrator Kemas Tomala finished third with 34,379 votes, followed by the incumbent Kelly Naru with 31,348. Counting will resume with quality checks tomorrow morning. Election Manager Simon Seheke said it will take 2 days to conduct the quality checks. Meanwhile, members-elects for the 9 open seats in the Morobe province have already been declared. Lucy Kopana, National MTV News, Lae.
Another member of the People's National Congress, Wera Mori, has been re-elected by the people of Tuave to serve his second term. He was declared on Sunday at 2 in the afternoon by Returning Officer Peter Are. He retains his seat after exclusion 35 with 10,075 votes, ahead of New Generation's David Mori. Now, so far, 52 seats have been declared in several seats around the country. The People's National Congress added 2 more after Sasindran Mutuvel for West New Britain Regional and Douglas Tumuriesa Kirwina Goodenough were declared last night. This brings PNC's lead to 18 declared MPs. The other parties, Pangu National Alliance and PPP, have members declared so far. 5 independents have been declared as of today. And the minor parties, Melanesian Alliance, PNG National Party, Melanesian Liberal Party, Christian Democratic Party, United Resource Party, Coalition for Reform, Our Development and Social Development Party have a member each. You're watching National MTV News. We'll have more after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National MTV News. We take a look now at some progressive counting results in the autonomous region of Bougainville. Elimination for the Bougainville regional seat sees Joe Lera in the lead 23,344 ahead of Patrick Nisera 21,193. Andrew Mirki is running third 10,374. And 2 candidates have been declared in the autonomous region of Bougainville. In central Bougainville, sitting MP and PNC candidate Jimmy Miring-Toro was eliminated during the final exclusion number 19. The new member-elect is Catholic priest Father Simon Dumarino, who polled 7,285 votes ahead of former national parliamentarian Sem Akoitai, who managed 7,277 votes. Sitting MP and People's National Congress for North Bougainville, Lauta Atwai has also been ousted by National Alliance candidate William Nakin in North Bougainville after exclusion 30. Mr. Nakin collected 9,869 votes ahead of Mr. Atwai's 7,569. Meanwhile, for the main counting for the Bougainville regional seat will progress into this evening. To the latest results we have for all the 3 seats in the National Capital District and for the NCD regional seat after count 345. Poes Pakop is in the lead 38,757 ahead of Ndibawa 19,281, Michael Kandiu 16,607. To counting for Mosby Northwest after the 23rd exclusion, Semekere Morauta 9,993, Joseph Tonde 6,991, Lohia Samuel 6,593. To counting for Mosby Northeast, Labi Amayu, the sitting MP, is in the lead 8,122 ahead of John Kaupa 6,785 and former Mosby Northeast MP Andrew Mull in the top 3 6,658. To Central Province and for the Kairukuhiri Open after count 41, Peter Iswaimo 15,275, Paru Aihi 10,166, Stephen Manai 6,942. To Gulf Province and for the counting for Gulf Regional after count 63, Chris Haiveta 7,946, Havila Kavo 7,036, Elijah Timothy 7,029. To counting for Kerma Open after exclusion 41, Richard Mendani 7,983, Thomas Oppa 6,266, Nixon Lime 4,329. To Medang Province now and for the Medang regional seat after count 75, James Yali is now in the lead 38,651, Jerry Singarok 37,205, Peter Yama 26,501. To counting for Raikos after the 5th exclusion, Peter Sapir 6,520, Edwin Buffet 5,056, and Mr. Gilak 3,308. To counting for Bogia Open after the 18th exclusion, Robert Naguri 6,671, David Wama 4,768, Leo Bambia 2,986. To counting in West Sepik Province and for the West Sepik regional seat after count 90, Tony Wowo 12,533, Amkat Mai 10,199, Simon Solo 8,275. To counting in the Eastern Highlands Province and for Goroka Open after exclusion 25, Bire Kimisopa 17,061, Henry Ame 16,065, Tom Nunue 13,289. Here with National EMTV News, we'll have more after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Electoral Commissioner Patiles Gamato has denied banning the media to the Rita Flynn Counting Centre in Port Moresby. Gamato was responding to recent reports of media personnel being banned from the counting centre where the NCD Regional and Moresby Northwest counting are taking place. He maintains that the media plays an important role in providing news coverage and transparency during this national election.
With regards to what was reported in the media as media ban at the NCD counting venue on Monday Northwest and NCD provincial seat at Rita Flynn Complex, Sports Complex, I must place on record that there was no official ban on the media to cover the progress of count, especially from my office or for myself. The media is a very important stakeholder in the 2017 national election because media provides independent scrutiny on the election process and ensure that the whole process is transparent, impartial, and has integrity. Media as watchdog for the public interest, it is your responsibility as professional media personnel to ensure that you provide the public with balanced news coverage of this election event. It is essential that the media, as gatekeepers of information, report election events accurately, especially for the 2017 national election.
Now let's take a look again at how the political parties are faring as of this afternoon. So far, 52 seats have been declared in and around the country. As of 6 p.m. this evening, the PNC party has 18 members declared. They are James Marape for Taripori, Justin Chechenko for Mosby South, Peter O'Neill for Yalibu Pangia, Charlie Benjamin for Manus Regional, Job Pomat, Manus Open, Davis Stephen, Esa Ala Open, Elias Kapavore for Pomio, Charles Abel for Alotau, Solen Mersim for Telefomin, John Pundari for Kompiam Ambum, Sepuka Temu for Apau, Richard Maro for Yanguru Sausia, Sasindran Mutuvel for West New Britain Regional, Douglas Tumuriasa, Kirwina Goodenough, Wera Mori for Chuave, Philip Undialu for Hela Regional, John Critton for Milne Bay Regional, and Johnson Wapunai for Ambunti Drekikere. Pangu Party has 7 members elected so far in these elections. They are Koni Iguan for Makam, Sam Basil for Bulolo, Thomas Pelika for Menyama, Dr. Kobe Bomareo for Tewai Siasi, Rainbow Paita for Finchafen, William Sam for Goilala, and the newest addition, Kennedy Wenge for Nawai in Morbe Province. The National Alliance has 8 members declared. They are Walter Schnobel for Namatanai, Timothy Masiu for South Bougainville, Ian Linkstaki for Kavieng Open, Joe Sungi for Nuku Open, John Simon, Maprik Open, William Nakin for North Bougainville, Patrick Pruich for Aitapelumi, Ross Simo for Huon Gulf. The People's Progress Party has 4 elected members. They are Emil Tamur for Kokopo Open, Naki Kuskonga for East New Britain Regional, Sir Julius Chan for New Island Regional, and Kevin Isifu for Wabag Open. The Melanesian Alliance Party, PNG National Party, Melanesian Liberal Party, Christian Democratic Party, United Resource Party, Coalition for Reform, Our Development Party, and Social Development Party, together with the PNG Party, have a member each. And so far, 5 independent candidates have been declared. They are Petrus Thomas for Koroba Lake Kopiago, Manasseh Makiba for Komomagarima, Leonard Henry for Samurai Murwa, Lekwa Gure for Rigo Open, and John Rosso for Lay Open. Turning overseas now, a deadly strike from U.S. forces is under investigation. The airstrike, which meant to target Afghan militants in Helmand province, instead killed 16 Afghan police officers. It's been 15 years now since the war in Afghanistan began, and U.S. Marines are returning to Helmand province for another tour to continue to face an uphill battle.
Here we are again, but it's been going on so long. These guys have left and then come back. Afghanistan's Helmand and America's Marines. When does it end? A year ago, the Taliban were at the gates of this key city, Lashkar. Now it's not good, but it's better because the Marines, even though there's only 300 of them, have brought huge firepower with them. Afghan troops just now retook one district. The Marines not at the front, but advising on base instead and congratulating them indoors. But nothing lasts forever here, except maybe the war, and the triumph soon fades.
Let's go. Let's go.
A rocket's just hit, landing about 20 metres from us outside. A total of 3, indiscriminate. An 8-year-old boy wounded in the attack. President Trump is now weighing his first move in a war that for men like Colonel Reed, whose birthday is September the 11th, is absolutely nothing new. He was last here 7 years ago, but then with thousands of Marines. So fewer now.
Right around 300. Still, those are the troops that ran the chow hall.
Now, they have to do it all over again.
It's discouraging, right? I mean, a lot of blood in the ground.
Do you feel like an extra sense of heaviness when you try and take it on again?
There is a definite feeling of a sense of obligation to get this right because of those that have gone before us, for sure.
So how many friends do you lose here?
I don't think I've ever bothered to count, so too many, yeah. Between here and Iraq.
Some Marines advise near the front, where you can just make out the Taliban's white flag.
This is all Taliban country, all of it. So there's Taliban that come through here on a daily basis.
But the Marines aren't meant to fight them. The Afghans are. And they aren't as many here as they're supposed to be. Listen to how these 45 Marines almost double what's meant to be a 500-strong Afghan unit here.
There's only about 200 that are assigned right now.
By assigned, you mean that actually exist,
That
right?
actually
on
exist.
paper they have 500, but
That's right.
in reality they have 2.
Of those 200, there's about 100 of them that aren't even here.
Some on operations or on patrol, so 50 to 100 Afghans actually here. This Marine unit pulls back after a week.
The Marines are leaving, but this was only supposed to be a short mission. They come, they go, they come back again, each time hoping the Afghan security forces they leave behind them will be able to do their job, to hold the Taliban back. The question is, with only 300 of them here, Marines this time, what has changed?
In the U.S. state of Texas, a case of human trafficking. Vigils were held for 9 people now dead after a tractor-trailer was discovered baking in a parking lot in San Antonio, Texas, where the 100 undocumented immigrants may have been crammed inside that truck. The suspected driver is now in custody. This case highlights the dangers that immigrants face when crossing into the United States.
Homeland Security investigators and Immigration Customs Enforcement agents say that the driver of the truck was 60-year-old James Bradley from Clearwater, Florida. He's really the centerpiece of this investigation as investigators try to figure out what they describe as a human smuggling operation. And the key to that is to figure out who else was involved, where this truck came from, and where it was going. The acting ICE director says that at some point during the journey, there could have been more than 100 people inside the back of this trailer truck. And when it was discovered here just after midnight, it was somebody from the truck that had approached a Walmart employee asking for water. And that is what led the employee to make the discovery and call police here to the scene. 8 people were found dead inside. A 9th person died in the hospital on Sunday. The death toll numbers could change. There were nearly 20 people in critical condition throughout the day, receiving treatment in various hospitals around San Antonio. So a horrifying and gruesome discovery. The fire chief says that at some point he believes that the temperatures inside that trailer reached more than 150 degrees.
Units arrived, found the trailer stuffed with victims in the back, and again, very hot, kind of like being in an oven, if you could imagine. A lot of them have suffered the symptoms of heat stroke. And so with heat stroke, a lot of times you have neurological deficits that you're never going to be able to recover from. So, again, for those people that survived, they took a beating. And with our temperatures yesterday, we had temperatures of over 100 degrees. So you can imagine the temperature in the back of that semi loaded up with people was probably 150 degrees. And so the ones that we took out, all their pulse rates were about 130. They were hot to the touch.
A highly dangerous, volatile situation inside that truck. And of course, all eyes really kind of focused on James Bradley, the driver of this truck, who hasn't formally faced any criminal charges filed just yet, but that could change dramatically here this Monday. Bradley is expected to make a court appearance on Monday morning in San Antonio, so the criminal charges could change here in the coming hours. So we'll continue to monitor that. But this Walmart and where this truck was discovered is just along Interstate 35 in southwest San Antonio. It takes a direct shot, about a 2-hour drive to the Texas-Mexico border. And in this part of South Texas, this kind of human smuggling operation is very common. Oftentimes, undocumented migrants are moved in truckloads like this. So, very dangerous situations like this have unfolded in the past. And sadly, this is just all too common in this part of the United States.
You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. We'll have the details after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with Rugby League, and Papua New Guinea, Australia and New Zealand will host the Rugby League World Cup 2017, beginning with the Women's Rugby League World Cup from November the 16th to the 26th. This will be the first ever standalone affair for the Women's Rugby League World Cup.
Competing in the Women's Rugby League World Cup is Papua New Guinea, Australia, New Zealand, England, Canada and the Cook Islands. Pool matches will be played as triple headers to give fans and diehards the chance to watch 3 quality matches in one day. All 12 matches of the tournament will be broadcasted on free-to-air television through EMTV, 7 Network Australia, Sky Sport New Zealand. Played concurrently with the Men's Rugby League World Cup tournament, 9 pool matches and the semi-final will be played at the Southern Cross Group Stadium in Cronulla. The final will be played as a double-header with the men's final at the Suncorp Stadium on December the 2nd as one of the first-time event to ever occur in the history of sports. The event, supported by Australian government, aims to improve women's rugby league. Meanwhile, the Men's Rugby League World Cup kicks off from October 27 to December 2nd, 2018 at Brisbane's Suncorp Stadium. Godwin Eki, National, MTV Sports.
New Zealand will want to make it a clean sweep when they play their final match of the competition against Tonga at the OFC Under-19 Women's Championship. While New Zealand hold an unattainable lead in the standings, 3 sides remain in the hunt for the 2 remaining positions on the podium. Second-placed Fiji will play New Caledonia, and a win or draw for either side would see them remain on the podium, but only if Samoa manages to get a result over Papua New Guinea in the day's final encounter. PNG proved against Fiji they're not a side that gives up easily, and they will need to bring all of that determination to the field when they take on one of the competition's most stubborn defensive lines. You're with Trukai Sports. We'll have more after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To the NRL, and round 20 of the Telstra Premiership kicked off last week with the Broncos running a rampage over the Bulldogs with a 42 points to 12 win.
First of 2 matches.
The Roosters took on the Knights at Allianz Stadium on Friday night. Roosters scored 2 early tries to take a 12-0 lead.
To left footer, right across, and the Roosters get it uncontested.
The Knights fought back with a try from former Rooster Sean Kenny Dow to see the scores at 12-4 at half-time. The Roosters came back in the second half, scoring a handful of tries, beating Knights 28-4. Cronulla Sharks triumphed over the Rabbitohs 26-12 at Southern Cross Group Stadium.
Sent to Bill! Bill scores!
The Sea Eagles suffered an embarrassing loss against the St. George Illawarra Dragons. They were humiliated 52 points to 22 at Wynn Stadium. The last match of round 20 saw the Tigers put on an impressive performance against the Eels. The match was evenly contested before a field goal from Eels 5-8, 3 minutes before full-time, sealed their 17-16 victory.
Left boot, it was flat, but it was good!
Elijah Levette, National, MTV Sports.
And finally to football, British Premier League champions Manchester United have defeated Real Madrid in a penalty shootout after 7 players failing to convert from the penalty spot. The Red Devils won the shootout 2-1 after a tie 1-1. Brazilian Casemiro scored the tear for Real Madrid in the 69th minute after Real's Theo Hernandez was brought down in the box. Casemiro would get another chance from the spot in the shootout but hit the crossbar with Real's 5th kick to leave United the winners. The 2 sides are to meet again in the UEFA Super Cup on August the 8th, which will be a much more competitive affair. European champions Madrid next play Manchester City, while United face Barcelona on Wednesday. And that ends Trukai Sports. Up next, your weather details for Tuesday.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Here's a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Rain and showers for Port Moresby, cloudy with some showers for Daru and Alta, a shower or 2 for Popondetta, light showers in Kerma. To the Momasa region, showers and cloudy weather for Lae and Wau, rain and showers. For Madang and Wabag, thundery rain in Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, thundery rain expected in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, some showers in Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabag, all these major centers can expect cloudy weather with rain over the next 24 hours.
weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Monday the 24th of July 2017. Stay tuned for Your Vote 2017 with Neville Troy and Titi Gabi coming up.